Hey, how you going? James here from This Office Design. Today, I'm going to be looking at two different workplace styles, activity-based working or ABW and the Agile office. So the main differences between the two. ABW focuses more on individual needs. Agile working focuses more on the team and their needs. That's the best way really to look at the two differences, because people often get mixed up or they use one term to try and describe another. So individual needs, ABW, team needs, Agile working. What I'm going to do, instead of showing you CAD computer work and computer visuals, is really strip it back to basics, get the tracing paper out. I'm going to actually draw each plan in front of you so that you can sort of get to understand my process and how I work. And also, hopefully that will better explain the differences between the two and why I've put certain things in certain areas. And yeah, it would just be a much more engaging way to show you how each kind of workplace style kind of works and comes together. Now, I get it, don't worry, in this current environment, people don't want to be looking at Agile, ABW workplace styles because everyone's going to be in fixed positions, no one's going to be moving around. But hopefully, as people get more confidence and things kind of mellow out a little bit, these will become relevant again. So here you go, enjoy, and if you've got any comments, please just let me know in the comment section. Cheers. Right then, I am going to start with the Agile Plan. Now, I always begin any sketching space plan by just drawing on the building outline. This helps me get a sense of the space, the scale of the space, but it's also just nice to feel the pen on the paper. A bit wobbly before actually getting creative. So I will just fill in these columns and the core, and we'll probably just fast forward this bit and come back to you once all this has been blocked in. There we go. So we've got the core and the columns filled in. We've got the outline of the building. As I say, I'm going to start with the Agile concept. The difference between an Agile concept and ABW concept, activity-based working. So Agile is more focused on the team, and ABW is more focused on the individual. So hopefully you'll be able to see that as we fill in this plan and I talk you through it. So they're both quite modern, contemporary styles of office planning. So with that in mind, we haven't got a formal reception. We've got a concierge point, which we've got here. My pen works, there we go. This is our concierge point. Fill that in. Concierge nowadays, their role really is kind of a dual office manager, receptionist. They'll meet and greet people. They'll obviously take calls. They'll run the office. You might see them walking around with those headsets on that Madonna used to wear. But yeah, I guess it's a more engaging role. So we would typically have a concierge point as maybe a standing point, so that the person fulfilling that role is sort of maintaining direct contact, eye contact as people are walking into the space. It's much nicer than if someone's coming in and looking down on you. So within the entry point, we've got a nice curved banquette seat. Could be some nice joinery. The pen's not really working. There we go. Off the back of that, we wanted to get rid of this column, so we've created this area behind where we could have some storage. And then to the left, I just fill the tables in. To the left of the concierge point, we've created the main staff breakout, which also doubles as a sort of welcoming space for visitors coming in, somewhere they can kind of wait, grab a coffee whilst they're waiting for someone to come and meet them. So we've got an island bar here. obviously main T point is running off the back of the core, so we can add all the hydraulics facility services through to the toilets. I put another banquette here. This one really acts to create some plants in there. Create a bit of a corridor as you walk in, and just kind of separates physically the concierge area from the breakout. But there's still that line of sight. This wouldn't be very high. This would be 1.2, 1.5 meters high. So you've still got that line of sight running through to each space. And these would be some smaller, I guess, cafe style seating. Let's fill those in. And then here, we've got a larger, more sociable, almost like a farmhouse table, you might say. The beauty of this space is it can be used to take pressure off meeting rooms as an informal meeting area. We've got glazing down here. Some of the best views are going out this way and through here as well. Hence why, good segue, we have the primary meeting space down here. So this would be our main board. Well, this one wouldn't. This would be a secondary kind of large meeting room. This would be our main boardroom. And you can see there, I've indicated an operable wall. It's quite common, quite fashionable now that companies like to have big town hall meetings. By having this operable wall, we can open up this space to one large area where the whole business can congregate to those larger, generally their monthly meetings. Got a nice large table. Actually, that'd be broken down into 3, so that it's quite flexible. We can pack it up, move it to the side, and just create different configurations in this space. Then we'll say we've got this 8-person, another good size meeting room. My chairs aren't very consistent, never mind. So what we would do then is potentially have a big projector so that everyone's standing up here, sitting down here, can see the projector when the presenter's presenting. So there we go, that's our typical kind of front of house. Over this side, we've put a bit of cloak storage. Say visitors, there we are, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, they come in, say hello to our concierge. Thank you, nice to meet you. Put your jacket in here, make yourself at home, have a coffee, whilst Bob comes and meets you for the meeting. And over here, we've got our lockers. Now, typical of Agile ABW environments, people don't have fixed desks, so they don't have that personal storage that you'd see in those more traditional environments. They'd have lockers. So we've got banks of lockers here, and they're nicely positioned. Just fill those in roughly. Another bank here. So that when the staff come in the morning, generally through the main entrance lobby, or they can come through the side door. But if they come through the main entrance lobby, you've got, obviously they can grab a coffee, come over here, get their laptop, and then go and find somewhere to sit. There's different ways and different schools of thought on lockers, and we've shown 2 different options. So this one is showing a bank of lockers. We'll show you the other alternative in the ABW. So this is one sort of central bank of lockers. What I might do now is fill in the workstations. So as we did on our cellular and our open plan concepts, we had all the workstations around the perimeter so they can obtain the best natural light. What I would typically do is maybe get a template and fill in all my workstations through the perimeter to see how many we can get in. Once we've hit brief and we've got enough or more than enough, we can then start taking workstations out, take banks out, and implement other elements. So while I fill this in, actually, let me fill this in. So we've got a slightly different workstation here. This is your 120 kind of propeller workstations almost. I'm going to fill the workstations in, and then I'll come back and fill the other elements in, and I can talk through those. So while I fill these workstations in, I'm probably going to fast forward this bit. Once you've seen one workstation, you've seen them all. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so there's the workstations, and as I say, typically with an agile environment, it's aimed at teams, and sometimes a company would like to create these things called neighborhoods, and neighborhoods are really sort of blocks of areas where teams can be situated, and it might be that they only move around different seats within that neighborhood. But then within the neighborhood, you might have dedicated storage for that team, and also some storage, so it breaks up between the different neighborhoods. But also you would have some maybe hot desk space or some collaboration space where teams can come and have these informal meetings, project meetings during the day, and also, there we go, some focus rooms, which, you know, they are shared between neighbourhoods, but because this is close to one particular neighbourhood, they would generally use these rooms over others. So we've got a DN table there. We've got a quiet room where people can come and actually work, put a chair there, have a computer up there. Alternatively, a quiet room, a couple of lounge chairs where people can come and have a one-to-one meeting. The DN tables are becoming more and more popular now. They're great. You can have a TV up against the wall. You can get 6 people in here, 6 people in here, and they can all sit round the one space. Everyone can see each other and just have a really interactive, collaborative meeting. Now, we've also got this kind of open space here, which I've kind of created a little bit more privacy by building off the column, putting a TV on this built area, and then we've got this open meeting table. This could be tall, it could be short. I mean, this could be quite nice as a high table, about 1 metre high. A couple of stools. People generally have quicker meetings when the higher they get, the quicker the meetings are. They're less comfortable. People, for some reason, just get more energy when they're stood up and don't want to be stood around talking. So to sort of bookend this open space, I'll put it in a utility area. So you've got your photocopy here, put it in there for storage, and then we've got like a layout bench here with a nice piece of joinery, and you might have storage just in this section here, and then you can stick some chairs. Again, it just becomes another space where people can have a quick meeting. And that's the thing with these agile and sort of activity-based working spaces. It's about trying to find areas anywhere where people can just have a meeting. People have become less precious around having a sort of a private fixed meeting room. People like to meet anywhere now. The best conversations occur on the stairs, by the water cooler if people still have those. But it's just areas where you might just bump into someone and have those kind of bump meetings. So this is the comms room, small comms room. This company, I've decided, only need a small rack. So that, again, it creates a nice kind of bookend between this utility space where people can meet. And then we've kind of replicated it. So we've almost mirrored what we've got at the top, and we've mirrored it down here. So we've got, again, this circular table with a TV on the wall here, so they can throw up some work. And then here we go, we've got this. Oh, that wasn't very good. Got this DN table for a nice collaborative meeting. Got the small lounge chairs in here. And then we've got the desk in the focus room here. People can come in, have some quiet time. And I guess a couple of things here. One, you can see we've got a column here, we've got a column here, we've got a column here, and a column here. And I've used that column line really to ensure that we sort of hide the columns. People get very hung up on columns. If you can try and hide them within built zones, you lose them, you don't know they're there. Otherwise, just try not to pay attention to them. People like to paint them different colours. I think that's horrible. It draws more attention to them. So just try and ignore the columns within reason. And then something else I've done is just nip this angle off here. These rooms or these lounges don't need to be massive. It's two people having a conversation for at most probably an hour. So just nipping this angle here just draws people around into the space. And I think you'll agree, it's just a lot more interesting. So there you go, we'll just finish this off. We've got our strangely drawn project tables that sit in between the workstations. Another one down here. We've obviously got our fixed kind of workstations where teams can be located and people can move around within those teams. We've got storage that kind of breaks a bit of a breaker line between the workstation and the project space. And then we've got our built zone here. And all the way along, we've got these opportunities for people to go back and forth. And it just creates, this is quite a nice, it's a linear space, it's quite narrow. And by having this as a solid back-to-back meeting rooms, it really closes off the two channels. So by creating this space that people can move through quite freely, providing there's no meetings going on, or even if there's meetings going on, it just helps create a connection between the spaces, but also allows enough privacy at the same time. Now down here, I've created some booths. Again, another popular thing for a lot of companies nowadays. Another great way for people to meet, to have a little bit of privacy without going crazy and closing it off entirely. So we've got a seat here, and a table, and then a seat. Got a seat, table, and then a seat. And then over here, we've got some focus desks. And these are just individual desks where people can come into a nice quiet corner, open up the laptop, and just have a bit of focus time away from their teams if they need it. They're also great for people, I've got some plants in there. Also great for incoming visitors. If you just need a bit of extra space, don't want them taking up meeting rooms, the amount of times you'll come into an office and you'll see one person who's come from another site and they're just sitting in there taking up a meeting room. Very selfish. Anyway, up here we've put another type of meeting space, more informal. So we've got a couple of lounges, 2 3-seat lounges, couple of single seats, table, couple of stools. And the team could just come up here and have a bit of a, get together, a bit of a brainstorming session. This would be a whiteboard here, and here, and then people can come in each side. Again, you've got that kind of semi-privacy. And then we just have a partition there. You can maybe have some more whiteboards on there. But it's a way again of creating a space that is kind of open, welcoming, but at the same time has a degree of privacy through here. And that's pretty much it really. We've got obviously our workstations and our project spaces around the perimeter. So we've got our built zone through the centre, and we've got a series of different work and meeting settings around this area here. We've got our single block of lockers, our concierge point, our meet and greet stroke breakout space to be used by clients and staff, and then our more formal meeting rooms. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea about an agile working environment. You know, the idea is that people will move around, be it within their neighbourhoods or within the entire office. Obviously under the current global situation, that might not be occurring as much at the moment, people moving around from desk to desk as we try and find a cure for what's going on. But I'm sure as that evolves and people get more confident and maybe there's an antivirus in place, people will start to move around more through these spaces. That is an agile environment. Okay, so as I said before, let's start by just drawing a building outline. For some reason I cannot draw that line straight. So I'll just fast forward this bit again and see you in a moment. Okay, so this is our activity-based working concept. As I said, activity-based working has a greater focus on the individual, and it's more a case of creating more opportunities and different settings where people can go and work and choose where to work based on the activity they're carrying out. Hence the phrase, activity-based working. So let's start off with the entrance. So again, we're coming in here. Now what I've done with this one is assumed that this company are taking 2 floors. So this floor in particular, I've not put any kind of meet and greet, reception, concierge point. I've assumed that that will be on the other floor. What I have done is dropped in a staircase. So this company's got loads of money and they've said we're taking a couple of floors. They might even be taking 3 or 4 floors. We want a nice staircase running through all of our floors. So I've put a staircase right near the entrance, which is right near this, well, I'll draw it in so you can see it, this T-point stroke breakout space. So if visitors do come down here before or after going to the reception, or even by the staircase, they're not walking straight into an office space. They're walking into, again, a nice kind of welcoming breakout space where they can grab coffees and wait for the person at their space to be seen. So let's draw these in. Got a sort of cafe style seating over here. Got some nice kind of joinery planter boxes just to contain it. And then on the right hand side we've got our breakout T-point. Got some storage up here, sort of T-point, tap sinks, island bar again, and then we've got again another nice piece of curved banquette joinery seating. Again, and that would have a nice joinery planter box. There's my squiggly plants, just to contain it. Some tables. So as I said before, this is great. People, visitors, staff, they can all come in here. They can eat, drink, meet, present, do whatever they need to do within this space. And then off the side of the staircase, I've put a meeting room. Again, been a bit indulgent, put some nice joinery in there, nice table, and some stools. So that, let's just draw the stairs in. When people come into this space, they can have access to a meeting room immediately. They can have access to refreshments before they go off into the rest of the space. There we go. So there we go, we've got our sort of breakout, staircase, meeting room. Then let's move down here. So I've put some workstations down here. So we've got kind of 4 more permanent seats. And then we've got kind of an end seat that people can kind of drop into on more of a ad hoc, shorter sort of time frame, or they can actually use it as a bit of a meeting point. You know, 2-3 people can meet around the end there. Can you just imagine? And then we've got this circular table, which might be to say that, you know, you could define different desk types for different functions. So this might be a sit-to-stand workstation. A bit of storage there because of the location of that. You know, you want to get a little bit of privacy, so a bit of storage with, you know, some planters on top just provides that bit of visual privacy. And then if we go here again, we've got some circular, we'll call them our sit-to-stands at either end. And then we've got a more traditional rectilinear workstations. With a little sort of meeting bit at the end. If you noticed, I quite like symmetry. There we go. So we've got our kind of workstation there. Now in between, I've opted to put a couple of small 3-person meeting rooms here. Again, sort of coming off the wall, you can have a TV, quite a nice collaborative space. And then I've got some more informal furniture booths. And I say furniture because typically they you know, they're nice when they're made out of joinery, but by being furniture, they feel less permanent. Well, they are less permanent, and they just provide a slightly different feel. A bit softer. Table in the middle, so you can get like probably 6 people in each of those. It's quite nice this because you've got this as an island, and people can come in. They can walk through here. They can go through here, take a phone call, you know, whilst they're looking out the window, and then just connect with this space over here. Now over here, as I said, when we were doing the Agile one, we've dealt with the lockers slightly differently. We haven't just got one bay of lockers. We've got a couple of bays located in each kind of half of the office space. So this is one bay. What I've done as well is tie it in with a utility point. So you get a bit of storage, and then your photocopier here. And then these will be your lockers through here. And we've got this column here, and all I've done is put a standing height table, bench, bar, whatever you want to call it, around there. Put some planters climbing the column, that could look quite nice. And then over here, you could have a low table. As I said, I quite like symmetry, so we've got a sort of these 2 circular furniture settings bookending this lockers. These lockers. Ooh. Let's kick the camera. Then I'm going to come up here and just do this bit, and I'm going to deal with this centre space afterwards. And then up here, what I've done, if you remember on the Agile, we had these focus pods. Well, I've grouped these into pods of 4, just for sort of a slightly more space efficient way to do it. So we've got 4 focus pods, and the idea is people come here when they just want a bit of quiet time. So hopefully, if them 4 together, people will respect that and just be nice and quiet, get on with their work. You could have a little credenza here. You could have some storage, or I don't know, jug of water. Now in here, I wanted to show a slightly different workstation. And these are those kind of pill shapes, and with these ones, you may have seen, you can actually swivel them round. So if if you want to have a bit of a meeting, you can swivel that out and then people can kind of come around there. Excuse me. And then the same here. So I've kind of dotted a line in there, so this could flip out. You've got the spine that runs through, and then these kind of pill-shaped workstations that can swivel. And these could be nice sort of project spaces, so you can have a bit of flexibility on how they're used. So you've got sort of a cluster of different workstations at the top. You've got a couple of clusters down the bottom here. You've got some different areas where people can come and meet. And then through here, we've got, as I say, we've got our secondary locker and utility bay. Some just soft seats there, just there's a column there, so we're just kind of using that just to sort of contain some lounge space there. And again, as we did upstairs, this is quite a nice space. Some spaces just lend themselves to different things. And you see it and you think, yeah, that's where the booths are going to go. And so that's what I've done on both plans. It just works. And when something just works, you go with it. So your booths there, lockers, utility. And then we've put a nice big, I'm going to come over here, we've got a nice big meeting room up against this perimeter window. Again, some large flexible tables. What have we got? 16 people in here seated. But we've also got this banquet seat here at the back, so you can flex that up to over 20 people. There you go, 16 seats. And then here, we've got an area here where we can have media wall, big TV there. And then what I've got, the old favourite, an operable wall which you can stack into this media wall, so it's been nice and flush. You won't even know the operable wall's there when it stacks. There's your operable wall, and the reason we've got that is because over here, if my pen wants to work, I'll have to get some new pens. What we've done is we've added in a slightly different type of facility. We've got this tiered stadium bleacher seating on the curve, which are great. If you've got the ceiling space, they are great. They look really good in an office. They're great for these town hall meetings, and they just bring people together. They're really good. And you could typically be just like a timber construction, and you can put cushions on there. So the idea is you'd have these as like double height, kind of double depth seats, steps that people can sort of access at these more regular steps either side, shuffle along, and then we contain it with this wall here. We'll put some screens on here. In this space here, you can have anything, but I've just put some flexible furniture in here. So you can like have a big project meeting, you can pack it up, you can get seats in here. People can kind of sit all through here, they can sit all through here. And this is why we've got the upper wall. You can pull that upper wall all the way back, get your nice big projector in. Bang, there you go. You know, 60, 80 people in there having a big town hall meeting. And it's just kind of nice use of space. Obviously got, I've got to put the lounges in. Told you I like symmetry. So off the back of the lockers we've got the lounges there, and you know, people come in through the breakout, grab a coffee, and they can go through this space. And then you've obviously got your big town hall meeting going on. You know, if you really wanted to contain this, you could put some sliding cavity doors through here, through here, and through here, and really contain that space. Or you can just have it quite open. You know, it's going to be quite obvious if people are having a big presentation, not to sort of walk through the middle of it, but I guess you kind of count up for some people. And then we've got off the back of that, another smaller meeting room. I guess the thing with this plan is, you might think, oh, there's not many meeting rooms on here. But you've got to remember, we're assuming with this client, they're taking 2, 3, 4 floors maybe. And they may have a suite of meeting rooms on one of the floors or half a floor. So that has definitely been taken in consideration when I was planning this. This would again be a nice kind of whiteboard interactive wall, standing height, circular table, some stools dotted around. Again, another kind of great semi-private space where people can just say, right, quick guys, let's get together, we need a quick brainstorming session. You know, you can get 8, 10 people in here, no problem. And so this is the ABW, activity-based working concept plan that I've pulled together. As I say, you've got all these different types of settings, and this, hopefully you can feel that it's a lot less regimented. Although I've got the symmetry in there just because that's, you know, how I like to design, but it just looks different. You've got a lot more space to move around, move more freely, you know, little corners where you can take a phone call, get out of the way, and just do work based on whatever the activity is that you're doing, and pick the right space for it, whether it's a focus space, a team project space, a big meeting town hall space. This kind of really lends itself to that activity-based working environment, which hopefully, you know, will still continue at some point once the world gets back to normal. Thank you very much.